Hey everyone, welcome to Multiplane Podcast. We are so excited to have you. Thanks for listening or watching live on Facebook or our YouTube channel. Today we are deep diving into the first season of WandaVision. I'm Val.
I'm Ty. And we
Ty,
have a lot to talk about.
you have been itching to talk about this. And again, all I know about these characters is what I have seen in the MCU and then from this television show. And then I did post something on our Multiplane Podcast Facebook page about this different kind of family tree timeline, which opened my eyes to a lot of things because, again, I only know the MCU version. But Ty, you understand more than that. You deep dive because you know the comics, you have the books, you know all the Easter eggs, the background. And so I always love chatting with you about this because then I have to go back and rewatch and see what I missed. At the end of this chat, we'll kind of give a grade to what we think this series was for us, and then we'll kind of give our predictions with what's to come as we talk about it today. And we would love to have your cooperation as well. So if you don't agree with us, please comment below, even if it's not during our live session. We would love to have your comments. We want to know what you think about WandaVision. I know, Ty, that a lot of our friends either love this or they're just kind of like, it's okay. Yeah, I haven't seen anybody yet that's hated it, but I just know some people are just kind of and then some people are like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah. So before we dive in, there's some news coming out.
Okay, let's go into the news. Disneyland is gonna
reopen.
So right now, this is what at first I was like, wait, is this true? Because they're opening on April 1st, which is also April Fool's Day. I was like, but when I saw it from a lot of the Disney sites that post this stuff, but the thing is that they're not reopening everything right away.
Yeah.
They're going to be reopening like the live shows that are outside, some of the specific rides. But the important thing is that as of April 1st, and it's not an April Fool's joke, Disneyland will be reopening, not at full capacity, not everything working, but it's like the step in the right direction. And I'm super excited. How excited are you?
I'm pretty stoked. I ran into my room last night and I showed my wife and she's like, at first, I was wondering if she was being like, are you serious? Because again, I said April 1st. And yeah, that was my first thought too when I first seen the articles. I'm like, if someone is trying to play an April Fool's joke to this capacity, I'm going to slap somebody.
Yeah. Another thing in the news that everybody is freaking out about is that Disney Plus put some movies on the adult list only. So a lot of people are saying that these movies are pulled all together. Peter Pan, Aristocrats, and there were 3 others. Dumbo. They're not pulled for everyone. If you have on your Disney Plus parental controls, it means that your kids cannot watch these movies on their own, which I'm totally okay with. You and I have seen these movies. We understand the difference between what's in the movies that is different now and what was made back then. But if somebody were to be watching these movies for the first time, like kids, and they're impressionable, they might just need a little bit of direction on how the Aristocats, how some of those things could be a little bit racist. But again, at the time that it was made, those things were not something that people were talking about a whole lot. So I'm glad that the movies are still there because I'm a huge Dumbo and Peter Pan fan. And I think those movies should be watched by everyone. But I love the fact that, you know what, if your little ones haven't seen it yet, maybe you should be watching movies with them because you should anyway. Don't sit your kid down in front of the TV and have it be the babysitter all the time. Like, interact with your kids, have conversations. So, that's what happened. That's like everybody's kind of freaking out about that a little bit and like saying cancel Disney Plus. Disney Plus is not going to be canceled.
Oh, geez, no.
So it's okay. The world is changing. It's going to a place where we all talk about how there are wrongs and rights, and it's okay. Just go with the changes.
Here's the thing, it's not like it's completely removed. If it's that big a deal, you go to your parental profile, whatever it is, and you can
And
still
change
watch
it.
it. Like,
Yeah. Plus,
so
I have all the DVDs. So,
yeah.
but I like
So
this. I like the idea that you need to talk to your kids about, certain things that happen in these specific cartoons that no, we're not going to take them away. But yeah, you should talk to your kids about those things. So, getting past that, let's talk about the final episode of WandaVision, and then let's talk about it in its entirety. Okay, Ty, take it away.
So first off, can I say Agatha Harkness and her outfit and everything that came with it to the end here? What's that look? Were you a fan?
I'm gonna let you finish. Go finish
Okay.
what you're saying. Sorry,
All
I'll
right.
keep my poker face.
Because see, I loved it. I loved how they made her look. I thought it fit. The scene that we got where she was being tied up to the stake,
Yeah.
and basically where you see her draining the powers out of everybody else, and then her mother. And it's something that's unique too that I really liked is how there were small details.
Yeah.
You could see how the mom was the head of this coven because she had that blue crown that was kind of forming as she was doing her power. Same as kind of how you get Wanda when her crown appears when she's doing hers. They're heads of their own magic.
Yeah.
So again, this is spoilers, guys. The big Luke Skywalker cameo was Paul Bettany against Paul Bettany. I was really hoping for. That's the one thing that I kind of felt like I got let down on.
Who were you hoping for? Remind everyone who you were hoping for. I don't know if you ever mentioned it on the show or if you were just messaging me back and forth. I can't remember.
So yeah, there was some that I said on the show, and then guys, let me tell you, after every episode, I would just blast Val's phone. Like I'd be boom, boom, boom. This happened. This could happen. This could happen. This could happen. It's almost like I was the guy. Yeah, it's like the guy off of Ant-Man. What's his name? The buddy that explains everything super fast.
Yeah, Michael. Well, his real name's Michael Pena, but yeah.
Yeah. So,
as far as I really enjoyed her character. Sorry, say her name again.
Agatha Harkness.
Agatha. But I didn't care for her final dress. So as she's flying up in the air and, she reveals like this outfit that she has on, I feel like I could pick that up at like any like Halloween store. It looks like, to me, it doesn't really, it fell short for me. I feel like they were like, hey, we forgot to get her a dress. Is there like a spooks open somewhere? Like, we have to go get a witch costume. I was a little let down by her costume, actually. So I feel like I've seen it before on people during Halloween. I didn't feel like it was anything exciting or new or that said this was specifically her outfit. It was very generic for a witch costume. Whereas I feel the reveal for Scarlet Witch was very something we had seen. It was stuff that we had seen a little bit in the MCU, but then they amped it up to show that she has come into her own. She is now more in control about her magic, what she looks like, her person, all of this stuff. And I absolutely love her Scarlet Witch, her final Scarlet Witch outfit. But I think that up against, the other one, I just feel like it was like, okay, this is what you can get for a big budget film, and this is what you get for a small budget. Like, I feel like they didn't I just feel like her character has such a very different personality. I would have liked something a little more unique for her character, and I don't feel like I got it.
Oh, really? If you look at her in all the comic books,
yeah,
she just looks like a granny.
Okay, like, well, I'll have to go look. Okay, so that's more to her character.
Yeah, she's
generic. She's generic. Okay.
Like super, super generic, like Granny Smith kind of just basic. That's how she looks in all of them.
She's your basic witch. Yeah, I said it.
She's rocking that basic witch look.
Basic witch.
So the fact that I felt that it had a little more flair than what again, based off the illustrated version of herself, it had a
Right.
little more flair.
Okay.
And I loved the makeup they did on her was very minimal.
Yeah,
but
no, I
it was
liked that.
right for me.
Yeah, I liked her hair. I liked her makeup because I feel like her personality and her facial expressions and her as an actress, like she doesn't need much. I just would have wished, like with Disney, you usually have, okay, you've got these female characters, you've got these dresses, we're going to market the crap out of these and everybody's going to buy these. I just felt like they're, like I was just kind of, but I loved everything else. And I just thought she is such a fantastic actress. I love it when at the end of the episode, towards the end, and she's like, you're going to stay here. And she turns her back into the character that she was in the beginning. And she just immediately, is, hey, like this. I love
What's
that.
cooking hot stuff?
Yeah, like I just love her and her character so much. They did such a the casting of this television series is really great. Like the kids are fantastic. Although the one kid that can see everything, what's his name? He can kind of see what's going on.
Wiccan, or is it Billy? It's probably Billy.
He has more of a round face. He looks like if he looks like another actor, but as a kid. Like the whole time I'm looking at him, I'm like, he looks like someone. Who is it? And like he looks very familiar to me, but he had such great facial expressions when they're tucking them into bed, knowing that they're going to go away. You could see on his face, like, I know what's happening here. Like they're trying to be like, hey, we're just putting you to bed. Like this is just a thing. The other one is kind of like, okay, going with it. And he's sitting up the whole time, just like, I can see, I know what's going on.
And something that I thought was pretty, unique, once he starts showing his abilities, do you notice the color of his magic?
Mm-hmm.
Same as the coven that Agatha had come from.
Yeah.
So we'll see where that leads to. But what did you think of spectral vision?
So I thought it was okay. I definitely like the fact that they tried to bring him back as his original Ultron self, but it backfired. This is the thing. Every episode that I watch of WandaVision there's half of it which I think is totally intriguing and I think is fantastic, and then the other half of it I'm like, I mean, it's all right. I liked. So
you just thought he was all right.
I liked the idea of it. I liked the fact that you have Vision against Vision. You have how Vision started and how Vision was created in the mind of how she sees Vision. You know what I mean? And that's the Vision that we kind of know towards the end of the MCU is the Vision that's here to help and protect and can pick up, he's worthy, I guess. And then you've got the robot Vision, which is more like Ultron, which is programmed by man, which, is basically told what to do and not utilizing him in everything that he is. And he kind of reminded me a little bit of the Silver Surfer.
A little bit, yeah.
Like when he came on and he had the blue and the way his stature was, and he looked like Vision, but not totally like Vision. I was just like, this kind of has given me Silver Surfer vibes. Hex has a question. Ask us a question, Hex. He's asking us a question on Facebook. And I know it'll have a little bit of a thing. So yes, type up whatever questions you have. And then as we see them, we will totally answer them. But I really liked the fact, I thought their fights were a little lame, but I loved the fact that, that they had to go up against each other. And he says, I have to kill Vision. That's what I'm programmed to do. And then Vision is like, but who is Vision?
Right.
I was intrigued by that entire thing.
I'm a condition of Vision.
So this
Where
is
did Spectral go?
this is, I think, where they're leading to what's coming into next season. So where do you think that he went, Ty?
You still think we're getting another season?
I think that we're getting a season with these characters. I don't know necessarily that it will be WandaVision, but I think Wanda and Spectral Vision and the kids at some point will be coming into something else, whether it's another season of this or whether it's something else that they've manifested. I do think we will see
Multiverse of Madness.
Yes, I do think we will see many of these characters somewhere else again that were in WandaVision. At least 6, I think we will see.
So here's my 2 cents on it. Obviously, so let me talk a little bit about my theory that I had first, Val, that what was going to happen, and then it kind of leads into this question. So I had thought we were going to have this major fight between Spectral and the Vision that we'll just call him Hex Vision. I was saying there was going to be some major fight, and my first theory was, okay, is it really going to be Spectral Vision, or is it going to be Ultron that had somehow been on a backup file and taken over his body again? My other theory was they were going to fight, and at some point Wanda was going to be able to take Hex Vision or the soul element of him and place it back into that body, which I was semi-right because, but it wasn't Wanda that did it. He did it himself. He's
he did it himself.
Your memories are there. You just need to see it. And then you are basically going to be the original Vision again. Yeah. And so after he has this realization of what he is and everything I know it was just a quick little, snippet, but I loved how we watched a whole 3 seconds of so many things that flew through Age of Ultron, and then another few seconds of everything that happened in the Infinity War, Endgame, just all this stuff in this few seconds that woke him up. And then you see his eyes kind of lose the android, the
blue for a minute,
element to where they go back to how Vision originally looked, and he has this realization like, oh gosh, I'm here. I think he flew off to kind of have some do little self-realization, because one thing, you understand that his entire purpose was that he was a self-motivated being that was out to look out for humanity. And his body was obtained by Tyler, and he basically manipulated it and turned him into a weapon. So at that point, he's like, hey, they did exactly what I did not want them to do with my remains. Right. And so I think he's gone off to do a little, TLC on himself. So I think he's just going to
I also think he maybe went to find any remains of how he was created. Because I do think he needs that connection. And maybe he's going to go look for Doctor Strange, because him and Doctor Strange have this connection that none of the other than Wanda, that none of the other superheroes have, and that's the connection of the stones. And so I do think, and then when I saw that family tree that I posted on our Facebook page on how in the comic books he is actually more connected to Doctor Strange than he is in the movies, and how that the new Doctor Strange movie is coming, it would make sense to me that he would go in search of how to utilize the powers that he has in a better way, because basically that's what Doctor Strange has done. Wanda hasn't figured it out yet. She's got these powers. What's her name? The daughter of, oh my gosh, she's in the show. I love her. From, oh my gosh. The other big character in the show that's
Monica Rambeau now has her powers.
So Monica has her powers. And, she seemed to be doing really great with controlling these new powers that she has. That's the only issue that I have is like, you have these powers and you seem to not have any issues with them. But maybe, I don't know. We'll get more answers to that later. But yeah, I do think that we're going to see him again. I think we're going to see Wanda again. I think we're going to see Rambo again. I think we're going to see her kids again. So I just don't know. I feel like there is going to be another season. I feel like it's going to be in a different capacity. But I definitely think that we're going to see a continuation of this story.
So, and I feel that end credit scene too, the very, very end credit scene.
Yeah.
I got a very Edward Norton Hulk vibe off of it.
Ew.
Well, you say that, but like if you look at the very end of the Hulk and he's sitting in a cabin secluded out in the woods, next thing you know, it's like I almost was wondering, I'm like, okay, are they gonna have her chilling in his cabin?
Because that's like the safe place where they all go.
Yeah, if it's like one of those safe places, I'm like, if that's this, I'm just gonna say it's probably not. I think the cabin was a little bit different at the end of that one, but same field where this is the secluded thing. If a superhero needs to like hone in on their skills or whatever,
they all go to a cabin because freaking all of them have done it, especially in the MCU. Like you see, Hawkeye, he's like, I just need to take some time away. He lives in a cabin with his family in the woods. And then what's he doing out there? He's teaching his kids, how to shoot. His daughter how to shoot, bow and arrow and all that kind of stuff. And then you see Iron Man, he's like, I have a daughter now and a wife, and he's out in a cabin in the
lake.
Yeah, cabin next to the lake. And then you see her out there. But I loved the fact that they had her doing whatever mundane things that people do. She's out there drinking tea, and then inside her other self is, doing whatever the crap she's doing. Yeah, she's doing things and stuff. But I don't know, Hex. We would love to hear where you think Spectre Vision went. You asked the question on our Facebook page, so we would love to hear your opinion about that. I had a little issue as a mom, and this is being very picky. The fact that she knew that her kids were going to disappear and she tucks them away to bed and then leaves them alone in a room to basically die by themselves. I mean, I know they're not dying, but they're dying. And then she goes downstairs to be with Vision. Like, if it were me, I would want to be with all of them, all of us together. I don't know.
It had to happen though.
Okay.
Here's one thing, if you guys have not learned this from the MCU, there's a few lessons that you learn becoming a fan with this stuff. Yeah. Okay. One, you watch everything to the very last second. Yeah. I don't care if you think the credits have finished or there can't be nothing left. No. You
until the screen goes dark.
No, not even then. You wait until Disney Plus throws up a thing saying, hey,
exactly. That's
watch WandaVision.
Or if you're in the theater. If you're in the theater,
lights better come on and they better be telling you to leave.
Yeah.
So that's one.
Hex asked us a question really quick. Am I the only one let down by Dottie's character? No, I don't think you're the only one.
Yeah.
Okay, what was your number 2?
Aside for me. Number 2 is no one is dead unless you watch them die.
Yeah.
This is what supports my Killmonger theory too for Black Panther 2.
Yeah.
You did not watch them bury, cremate, or do anything to that body.
I hope you are right, because I love that character and I don't think we got enough of him. The fact that they would kill him in the first movie when he is such a strong character, plus a huge actor, and you know what I mean? Like, it just seems like a waste to me.
He was too good.
Have Killmonger die. Yeah, to me that is just a waste. I'm going to go back to Hex really quick. I liked Dottie's character. I'm glad that they brought Dottie back, and I do think that why bring her back if she was underutilized in the way that she was? She was kind of like, in Star Wars, we have those side characters from the last trilogy that were like, why were they even in there? Like Rosie, like Why was her character even there if you're not going to do more with her? So I'm hoping that they brought her back as a taste for something else. And then we're going to maybe see her in the new Thor movie and maybe bring her back for something like that. I don't know. But yes, Killmonger was a very well executed villain. I just feel like there's more of a story to be told with Killmonger Hex.
He's sitting in a vat somewhere, like Luke Skywalker style, like floating up. I'm telling you right now, Wakanda's too advanced.
I honestly think that they didn't show it. They ended before they showed us that they took him to bury him in the rebirth sand or whatever the crap it's called. Because they have the power to do that. Why would they let him die? So I hope he's not gone. And now they really need, they're not bringing Black Panther back. And so it would really make a lot of sense to have him there. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with that whole storyline of why Black Panther is gone. But they are creative and we'll see what they do. So I understand that not seeing the kids die is important because then when you wait until the very end, she hears the kids' voices. And so they're there somewhere. And then when I did a little more research with that video and the kids come back in the comics, that makes a lot more sense as well. And again, it makes what Marvel does that a lot of the others don't do in their movies and in their TV shows is that everything is there for a reason. That's why I feel like Dottie was there for a reason. We just don't know what it was yet. Her kids were there for a reason because they're going to bring the story. They're going to give a little more to that story a little bit later. And so that is going to be interesting to see because honestly, I think her kids are maybe going to be against her in the future. It might be a battle between one of her kids and her. She's got one kid that kind of has her same powers. And it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. So I know you know way more than me about this, but I loved feeling that urgency as they're the magic is going through the town and changing everything back. I thought that was great television. Like you're seeing everything switch back to what it was. I loved the fact that she is walking through the streets when she has released everyone, all of the people, and you don't know whether they're going to attack her or not, and how they said, we weren't safe. We felt everything you felt. We felt your pain. We felt that we had other people we couldn't talk to. Like one of the moms is like, my kid's in her room. Can you just let her out of her room? When Wanda thought she was doing something nice. I'm keeping you safe. You're safe from the world here. And I think that's a bigger story. It's kind of what Iron Man was trying to do. I'm going to put, this big, huge cloud around the earth to keep us safe. But really, how safe are you keeping people when they can't live their own lives? That's a whole different discussion in itself, is that she thought these people were in this fun, happy, safe scenario that was all perfect and all pretty, but people don't really want to live that way. Like there was some underlying like social issues in this, but she really is a villain. At the end of this show, what she did to these people was awful. Which is worse, a witch that keeps people held captive under, against their will, or a witch, that says she's a witch and does evil things? Like they're both evil. And so she should be held accountable for the things that she did, but what should her punishment be?
Well, and then the kids, let's talk about this very end scene where you hear the kids. Guys, I've been screaming it the entire series. We never physically got to see it, but I'm still under the deep impression that Mephisto has come to collect his payment,
So you think he took the kids, like before they went away, you think he grabbed them and they're being held somewhere by him?
I think either Mephisto, Nightmare, or the combination of the two.
Okay.
And that's what's going to lead us into Multiverse of Madness. We also had another branch off, though, because there was another post-credit scene before that with Monica. We had a very significant character pop up.
Yes.
So basically they say, Monica, they want you in the theater. We go into the theater, there's no one there, and you see this agent who is a Skrull.
We got a
And
scroll
so,
back. I love the scroll. I love the whole storyline of the scroll. I think I like their storyline more than I like Mrs. Marvel's storyline. But I love the fact that they brought that world together because I absolutely love her character so much. And I love the fact that at the end of Captain Marvel, they showed her and we all knew that the daughter was going to turn into something, and the fact that they brought her into WandaVision and they made her an intricate part of this story, and now they give us that tease that something else is coming with her. Do you think it's going to be in Captain Marvel 2?
I think it's exactly leading us to Captain Marvel 2.
Okay.
Especially with Nick Fury being on board the sword vessel in space with the Skrull team.
Okay. You think that he's sent the scroll to come and get her and bring her to him?
Well, so yeah, if you go to that scene, it says, an old friend of your mom's wants to see you, and he heard you've been grounded. And she's like, well, where is he?
Up there. Yeah.
So she finally, and that's what she's been wanting to do,
Yeah.
She's wanted to go to space and be a part of that part of Sword, but Tyler's kept her grounded because for some reason, well, not for some reason, he's the bad guy, obviously. But
well, yeah, I mean, if he gives her power, he can't have power. So
yeah. So Monica's gonna head to space, rendezvous with Nick Fury, and I think we get the opening, I guess, scenarios for what's going to happen next. You have Rambo with Captain Marvel 2. I guarantee it's going to lead into Captain Marvel 2 somehow.
Okay.
Especially with the Skrulls, her being out there trying to find a suitable world for them to now live in.
Yeah.
You get the boys and Wanda's spiritual self hearing them and reading the Book of the Dead. That's going to lead us. I feel it's going to lead us into the Multiverse of Madness movie. And then her jumping through all those multiverses and whatever it is, Agatha says she has unleashed something.
Yeah.
That I feel is what's going to tear up the multiverse to lead us into Spider-Man 3, which has its release date. We're getting it on Christmas, guys.
Yay! So excited with all the Spideys in one movie.
Yeah. And we've been talking about it at work with some of me and my other comic book buddies. Like, the scenario would be really interesting. And Val, we could have Miles Morales really soon after this movie. So
I hope he's in this movie, like, at the end. Like, I hope that he's introduced in this movie somewhere, somehow, and then it goes into a movie that's all him. And yeah, it would be great.
And here's how that could work. It's Tom Holland's not going anywhere for the time being. He's way too good at Spider. He's my favorite. I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man. There's the argument of who plays the better Peter, who plays the better Spider-Man. He does both.
I think he's the full package. Yeah, he's
got it.
We've gone into this before, but like, Spider-Man was one of my favorite characters, comic book characters, when I was younger. And I feel like when I think of Peter Parker and Spider-Man, I think it's Tom Holland. And I think that they started him at such a good age at playing this character that as he grows into who he's supposed to be in the comic books, that we know more of who Peter Parker is, there's more room to grow. I feel like when they started with the other two Spider-Mans, that he was already too old to go back and do this growth as a character. But I also just think, like, the excitement that he has as, if you found out that you were Spider-Man, like, I love it. And that's why I love Into the Spider-Verse so much, because Miles Morales and how they portray him in Into the Spider-Verse is exactly the same. Like, who Spider-Man is, you look up to Spider-Man, and then you find out you're a version of Spider-Man, and you're clumsy, and you're a teenage kid, and you don't know how to do this, and it's hard. But at the same time, you want to be a good person and you want to live up to it. Like, I just love I love Tom Holland, and then I love Into the Spider-Verse, and I love if they can bring what is special about Tom Holland's Spider-Man and what's special about Into the Spider-Verse into a same movie together. It's Like all of my dreams will come true. Like I don't need anything else after that.
So we've already seen Uncle Aaron. Uncle Aaron was in the first Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We're saying that if Into the Spider 3 or Spider-Man 3, the multiverse thing going on, not Peter, there's a lot of Peters. If Tom Holland's Spider-Man lives, that's obviously going to be good. Andrew Garfield, though. Andrew Garfield's probably going to be the Spider-Man that dies.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that he gets another chance to be Spider-Man because I liked his Spider-Man movies, but I don't think he got a good enough chance to show what he can do. So we have 2 Brit Spider-Mans against an American Spider-Man.
But I think Andrew Garfield's going to die, and then Tobey Maguire's going to be like the Peter in the sweatpants.
Yeah.
Who has to train Miles.
Yeah.
So
I do like the title Spider-Man No Way Home because I feel like that leaves so many things open to the Spider-Verse element of it, because if you're caught in this web of worlds, what really is home for Spider-Man? Do you know what I mean? And now, because in the last Spider-Man, they revealed who he was to the world.
Hence.
And so there's so many that, sorry, I think I'm having an internet problem.
Oh, you're good.
But yeah, how they're going to work that. And I really hope that they are now intertwining these universes of, you know, we're going to have the multiverse of madness, and then we have Spider-Man 3. And I really hope that those movies, plus this WandaVision element, this is the second, you know, half of the MCU. And they did so great with the first half, kind of, you know, intertwining those movies. I can't wait to see how they do that with these 3 movies.
So actually, guys, for Doctor Strange, that's one that I haven't rewatched a lot. Right after we watched the season finale last night, I went to Doctor Strange right afterwards. And I have a really new appreciation for Doctor Strange now, because if you watch that right after, you know, finishing WandaVision, you're going to start seeing the same elements play out, how he learned how to have his second self kind of. She copies him in a way, because that's in the movie how he learns all of the sorcery so fast, is because while he's asleep, his physical self is asleep. You have his spiritual body sitting outside of him doing the exact same thing with a book here, book here, book here. And he is just collecting all this knowledge. And that's what you see Wanda doing at the end of this season. So again, Doctor Strange, I have a new level of respect for. Going back to Spider-Man saying that now everyone knows his identity. Guys, I was messaging Val, if you have a copy of Marvel's encyclopedia, I want you to go turn to Mephisto and look up the key points of his biography or whatever he is. Some of the main things he's noted for is, 1, helping Wanda have the 2 kids, and then helping Peter Parker, making a deal with him to eliminate the memories of everybody who had just found out that his identity was Peter Parker. So
and just so you know, on Marvel.com, they have that entire dictionary of things. So you can go on Marvel.com and look through, you know, all of that information, it's such a great website. It has helped me out a lot as I've been going through my MCU journey. Okay, so I would rate this season of WandaVision at a B for me. I really was intrigued by the storyline. I think I liked the episodes more after our conversations, because you led me into some things that I didn't know. And so I think that helped me. I would love to see them do an after WandaVision, where they kind of tie some things together for us mere mortals that that don't know all of the backstory, because I think there are some people out there that aren't enjoying it as much as I am, because they don't have their own tie to tie things together. You know, just because I don't know all of that. And so I think that if I would have known as much as you, Ty, I probably would have put it at a B+ or an A-. There were still a few things that I just thought were kind of like mundane or boring about the stories each episode, but there was enough in each episode that kept me going. And then when they would tie them back to the movies that we've seen, and then they would push things forward to what's to come, that's what really intrigued me. Plus, I think it was just smart writing for such great female characters, which was great. And I mean, in the end, this is a love story. This is a story about someone who has lost so much in her life. You know, she lost her parents. She lost her childhood. She lost her brother. She lost the love of her life. And then at the end of this, she thinks that she has to also lose her kids again, you know. And so it's just this story about loss and how we deal with loss and how we deal with stress and how we deal with change. And if we all had superpowers, how we dealt with things would be totally different. And so there comes the moral dilemma, you know, and Rambo says this. She's like, if I had the powers that you had, I would bring back my mom, no question. You know, and that's what we all think. So those people on the street didn't attack her because I think they understood her pain. Yes, they're angry that they had parts of their lives taken away from them and they were being held against their will. But I think they did understand. Like she said, those people will never understand what you gave up. But I do think they understand. They felt her pain. They saw it. If they were so angry, I think they would have attacked her. But you could see that they were looking at her like, we're really angry at you, but at the same time, we feel you're hurt. We understand why you did the things that you did. It doesn't excuse it, but we understand. And I think as somebody who has gone through loss and pain and a lot of change over the last couple of years, like this really hit home because if you had these superpowers that you didn't quite understand yet, because she's still trying to come in on, every time we see her, she's more powerful than she was before, right? And now she's also dealing with all of this pain. So it's not like Peter Parker where you get these powers and you're a kid just growing up in the world and, you know, you've got your friends there and all that stuff. Like she's dealing with absolute pain and loss all the time. Plus, she's one of the most powerful beings on the planet.
Oh, and in the MCU.
Right. But I mean, for her, like in just this general, for her life, one of the most powerful beings on the planet. And what would you do if you finally found someone that made you feel like a whole person? Would you bring them back? She basically was having a mental breakdown and dealing with this loss and this pain. And this is how she dealt with it. A lot of people do this in real life. You shut everyone else out and you hold on to your past. You look at pictures over and over. You watch videos over and over. You know, you don't change. You don't let anything else in. She basically did what so many of us do, but she did it with magical powers. So you can fault her, but at the same time, you can't really fault her, because would you do it or not do it? There's a small percentage of people that probably wouldn't do something similar if they had the ability.
Let's
what did you rate it? I want to know what you rated.
I'll give you my rating first. I gave it a B+.
Okay.
And again, the B+ is because, guys, if you are like me and you could pick up the subtle little notes, the things that Marvel dropped in that, you know, people like Val, who basically are based off of just the MCU that's been brought to them from the movies, us who have a little bit more, they're doing some fan justice here. They're like giving us little snippets and Easter eggs of things that we're like, did they just put this on like television? Is this on film right now? Like, so B+ for that reason, that just the whole, like I said, there was the X-Men thing. There was the hiding the helmet in episode 2. There was tons of things that they just put in that were just, fans like me were eating it up. We were literally just rewatching the episode over and over again to break it down. So it's a B+ for me. This is one that I think I'll visit a couple times because it's, again, such a precursor to everything that's coming. And I kind of want to talk just a couple minutes. I know we're just about out of time.
Yeah, go for it.
So I just want to talk about the things that they're, if you notice, that are coming, that they're setting up.
Yes.
First off, if you guys have any time, and I told Val before we started the show, my head hurts. Like I'm working with a headache right now, and it's been on and off throughout this last whole week. But I'm assuming it to how much reading and listening that I've just been like honing in on. Guys, the next big thing I think that Marvel is setting up for us. So our last 23 movies was the Infinity Saga, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is not going to probably happen for another 10, 15 years down the road. But if you can start looking up things that involve the Secret Wars,
okay,
you will have kind of a blueprint and an idea of what's to come. All the characters that are involved with that are somehow going to be showing up into the MCU with their own movies. They're going to tie them to what has happened, what is coming, including the Fantastic Four, Doom, especially playing a major role. Going back to Black Panther, Doom supposedly is what's going to be coming up with that. We had some big announcements come out last week. Jennifer Lawrence being spotted heading towards the set for Thor: Love and Thunder, and she has supposedly been cast as the Invisible Woman. So there's our first Fantastic Four. Yeah, have you not heard this?
Sorry, I have a dog barking in the background. I knew she was headed to the set, but I didn't know they would cast her as the Invisible Woman when she's already she's already a character in the X-Men.
But this is what's going to show you is that they are not going to canonize the Fox universe. They're not going to do it. Again, Peter Evans, guys, was Ralph. You know,
right?
Marvel did that to play with us.
Yeah, they played with us, but that's why I was like, but they've already kind of done it, but they brought him in and then they made him nobody. Like they just made him some kid in a house somewhere.
Let's look at some past characters, all right, that could totally justify this. Chris Evans was the Human Torch.
Yeah.
And then became Cap. Michael B. Jordan was the Human Torch and then became Killmonger.
Sorry, we all try to forget that movie was ever made. So I don't think that counts.
I'm trying to think if there's any other people out there that this has happened to as well.
I mean, I'm excited. I like Jennifer Lawrence. I really, really like her as Mystique. And I was hoping.
Yeah, no, she did great.
I was hoping that when they brought over, from now that they can kind of intertwine with the MCU, I was hoping that she would get another chance to be that character along with Michael Fassbender and that inside of the MCU, because they're all such great actors at those characters. And I feel like that all ended not well. It just ended stupid. So I don't know, but yeah. So, and in Love and Thunder, they're on Ragnarok. I mean, sorry, they're not on Ragnarok. They're on Asgard.
Yeah.
They're on Asgard.
New Asgard. Right?
Yeah.
Because
whatever right, but it's whatever it is. Like, how did it become this? Because they were all on Earth before. So
that's where they're building it.
Oh, you think that because it didn't look like Earth in the pictures that I was looking at?
I'm wondering if it is Asgard or if I'm trying to find out. So supposedly, like I said, Jennifer Lawrence has been cast to play. The rumor is she has been cast to play the Invisible Woman, Fantastic Four. The other thing is supposedly Storm from the X-Men. I thought she would appear in Black Panther 2.
Yeah, that's what you were telling me.
Being confirmed that she's actually showing up in Love and Thunder.
Okay.
I think Love and Thunder is going to be one of those. So here's the MCU timeline. We have tons and tons of movies that come up it, but then you have a couple of them that stand to the sides that are major landmarks. I think Love and Thunder is going to be a major landmark movie.
Well, and I think they probably had to add some story in there after, Black Panther kind of changed paths. Yeah. I think that they've had to kind of step back and really make sure that they had to rewrite a whole movie, and change some things. And so I think what they're doing with these movies now is they're making them stepstones, really bigger stepstones into the next movie, because they were connected in the first MCU. but I feel like they're even more connected now. Like they're making them even more intertwined, you know, than they were before. Like they're not going to be just their own standalone movies. I think what they learned with Ragnarok is that you can take some pretty big storylines for two different characters, because Ragnarok, yeah, it's Thor's movie, but it's also just
Hulk's movie.
It's also Hulk's movie. Yeah, I mean, it was such a good movie for both of them that I think they learned a lot about what they can do instead of having to do a standalone movie for every single character and we've got it spanned out over, 20 years, is that you can actually say, okay, we could actually do two movies in one and have this make sense and have these worlds really interconnected, which is how the comic books and the animated shows used to be. It was so many storylines intertwined, and Marvel has shown that they can actually do a movie like that and we can understand it. There's enough storyline, enough character development that, it's great.
You don't even know intertwined until you start reading up on Secret Wars.
I'm writing that down.
Avengers, X-Men, Fantastic Four, literally everybody is involved in the storyline. And it started to hurt my head quite a bit, because I'm like, there's a lot of people to keep track of. Like, if they do Secret Wars, this may have to be a 3-part, film to cap it off.
Well, I'm sure, because I mean, honestly, Infinity War is 3 movies. You know what I mean? Like, Infinity War ended up being, Endgame and, everything. So I think they did such a great job with that there's no way that they can't do that with Secret Wars. It's just not going to be called Secret Wars 1, 2, and 3. They're going to give them, their own titles. And they're going to intertwine different stories, and just like Marvel does, like they'll bring in stories from other things. They're not going to make it exact as you know it in the comic books.
It can literally probably be like a Lord of the Rings scenario where they have 3 movies that are 3 hours long. That's how much content.
I'll watch it, man.
I'll sit through and watch it.
And Endgame does not feel like 3 hours to me.
No.
I watch it all the time and it never feels like 3 hours. So that's just me, but yeah.
Another thing that's being set up is, well, first off, let me talk about one of my favorite characters that I was hoping and praying that he debuts, and now it's being talked about that he is going to come in and play a big deal. Beta Ray Bill is going to be part of the Thor core. So if you go back, watch Thor Ragnarok, you're going to see that giant... it's basically got faces of all the champions on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You're going to see a horse-looking dude who's kind of got like a longer face.
Yeah.
His name is Beta Ray Bill. So he already exists in the MCU. We know that.
Okay.
And when I seen that in Ragnarok, I lost my mind. So Beta Ray Bill basically is an entity who comes along. Well, he's from this race of people who are being attacked by these other dimensional demons, not tying enough stuff together.
Yeah.
They build ships to leave their galaxy and find a new place to live instead of fighting these things. But the trip would be so long that most of them would die by the end unless they put themselves in cryosleep.
Okay.
So they do that, but they're like, okay, well, who's going to take care of us? And so they bioengineer a body, kind of like how they did with Vision, except this is actual living tissue instead of synthezoid stuff.
Okay.
And what they can do is they can take the consciousness and soul of a being and put it into this body, right?
Yeah.
Almost kind of like Avatar.
Okay.
And so basically they have trials to where they're like, only the most worthy person is going to be able to inhabit this body. And out of all their people, Beta Ray Bill becomes that person. And as they're traveling, he kind of comes across Thor, gets into a fight, and the thing that throws Thor off is that Beta Ray Bill picks up the hammer.
Now 3 people picking up the hammer.
Starts beating him down with it. And then basically it just comes down to he meets Odin, he meets the Asgardians, becomes a major ally to them. They forge him his own hammer. And he pretty much has all the powers of Thor. but he's 10
Nice.
times cooler.
Wow. Okay. He has a stupid name though. I'm sorry. That name's lame.
No way. Beta Ray
Bill.
Yep.
I just kind of want to put on some boots and a hat and mosey on up. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't sound very superhero-y to me.
Here's the thing. I guess let me explain there was an Alpha Ray, but he was too synthezoid.
Okay.
And too I'm just gonna destroy things. So they went from Alpha to Beta. So the Alpha Ray to the Beta Ray, and then Bill. So I like it. Don't harsh on me, Val. Come on.
I'll wait until I see him as a character, but it's kind of.
And then we're setting up for the Young Avengers.
Yeah.
Wiccan and Speed.
I don't know how I feel about the Young Avengers. This is the thing. Everything that they've done recently with these young superheroes on the Disney Plus and the movie that came out, I'm just not impressed. They need to up their game with these young superheroes. Don't you agree with me? What do we have right now on Disney Plus? And what was the movie that came out? I don't know.
Here's my thing. I think they're going to set it up. So if you look at the old animated the Young Avengers.
Yeah.
The storyline's really interesting. It's Ultron has pretty much come back, taken out the Avengers, and now they are the sole survivors of their offspring. They're the kids of the Avengers, and Vision has to train them to fight Ultron. So you have Hawkeye's kid.
I mean, I
ones.
get what we used to have. I'm just saying what we have now. What do we have? The Immortals. We have what are, I don't know, the Disney Plus, other than, I don't know. I'm not digging any of the young superhero movies on Disney Plus. And maybe they're not made for me, but I love lots of kids movies, and I'm just not, I don't know. It's just kind of lame for me. So I'm hoping that they take these, young kids and they put them in some really good scripted movies, because I don't know. I'm a little leany against it right now.
It's not something I'm dying to see, but I feel it's coming basically. Yeah. So like you said, we'll see what it comes out to.
We will see. There was something else I wanted to bring up to you, and now I can't remember. Oh yeah. So totally un-Disney related, but superhero related. Probably on the 25th of this month, Ty, we are going to be doing a Movies That Make Us Snyder Cut breakdown. If you want to come play with us, because that comes out on the 18th. Again, I have been against the Snyder Cut this whole time because the original movie was crap. I watched it again last week to make sure that it was crap, and it is crap. There are some things about the movie that I like, but there are a lot of things about the movie that I don't like, and I don't understand. I get that different filmmakers are different, but I couldn't understand how a different cut of a movie would make it any better if the characters and the storyline were still the same. But then the trailer came out, and I was like, I might be eating my words.
Sweden is what messed up the Justice League.
Yeah, it might be what did it. But Batman versus Superman was also a stupid movie. So I don't know that I haven't been impressed really at all with this whole universe that they put together. But one thing that I liked about Suicide Squad, which I also didn't really care for that movie, is I actually did like Leto's version of the Joker, and a lot of people didn't. And I think it's because we didn't actually get to see what he turned him into, because they ended up cutting that movie so many times that they took so much out of the Joker that we didn't get to see why he was the way he was. I think Joker is a dark and manipulative and psychopathic character. And the fact that Jared Leto played him that way, as I'm super excited, because I don't want to watch. I love Batman. I love Joker. I love DC. I loved them before I loved Marvel, but I haven't been impressed. But what I do like about it is that it is dark. These are dark stories and dark characters, and the villains are really, really awful.
Yeah.
And I want to see that. I feel like we see the same Joker over and over and over, and I love the fact that we would get to see something totally different. So the fact that he's in the Snyder Cut intrigues me. And so I might be eating my words, but it might be better. So if you want to join us for that, and just to let you guys know, over here at Multiplane Podcast, our sister podcast is Movies That Make Us. Stolen Droids is the company that we all have our stuff on, so I'm sure they'll be covering it as well over on the Stolen Droids podcast. But if you want to join us, I believe we're going to do it Thursday night, the 25th, a week from when it comes out on HBO Max, to give everybody enough time to indulge themselves, and then we're going to rip it.
Also, March 19th, guys, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier airs on Disney Plus.
It's going to be a week of superhero awesomeness. Yeah, so I'm super excited.
They're not leaving us very long, I'm glad we're getting...
Well, I mean, they've had content that they've been holding on to, which is nice. And so I'm excited to see that. I really like those characters.
I don't.
We'll see if they can hold a show on their own. I like that they don't take themselves too seriously with each other, but when they're on their own, they take what they're supposed to be doing very seriously. Winter Soldier, for me, is a really intriguing character. And so I would like to see more of him. I hope they show a little bit more of his backstory and how he's become who he is and where he's come from. I mean, we've got a lot of it in the movies, but yeah, so I'm excited.
I'm not a fan of either of them. I'm going to watch purely just to find mutants, Easter eggs, and the further progression of the MCU.
Zachary says, hi, can you sub to me? It's my birthday and I just made it. It's called Zachary Butler and I do gaming and Lego and Imaginext stop motion.
I'm totally into Legos.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. There you go. Go check him out. Yeah, so if you guys are in, we want to know what you thought about WandaVision, I gave it a B. I was like almost B-, but I'll give it a B. Ty gave it a B+. We're super excited with what's to come on the MCU. And next week, I believe it was supposed to be your pick a while ago, but we missed our episode last week. So are we talking Treasure Planet next week?
I might save Treasure Planet now. I might save it.
Okay, so we're going to put Treasure Planet in the back pocket, and what are we going to talk about next week?
Do you want to talk about Raya?
You know what? I think we should. So I call her Raya, you call her Raya.
Raya and the Last Dragon.
Raya and the Last Dragon premiered this last week, yesterday on Disney Plus, but it's also in theaters. And I would have to say Disney made an announcement that this short-term in-theater viewing might be going on this might be how it is it's not going to be any of these long-terms, these long-term showings at theaters anymore. Get out, support in theater experiences. And the thing about Raya is that it is one of the most beautiful animated movies I've seen in a long time. I thought it was just the visually. So I'm going to go see it on Wednesday on the big screen. I did watch it on TV so that I could review it yesterday. But sidekicks are fun. The animation is beautiful. You know how I love my sidekicks. Yep. So yeah, let's talk about that next week. We'll give you guys enough chance to watch it. If you didn't pay the $29.99 on Disney Plus, you can head out to the movie theater and catch it on a matinee on a $5 Tuesday, if that's a little better for you. And then let's talk about it next week. I think that's a great idea.
Cool.
Awesome. Zachary, you're going to have to go back and rewind through the podcast because we are done. See you guys later. See you next week. Bye-bye.
See ya.